I'm Greg Fossilman Raymer. While every player loves finding a large pocket pair in their hand before the flop, the fact is smaller pairs can sometimes be even more profitable to play. In this lesson, we'll give you some tips on how to play these hands so that you can extract the maximum profit from these smaller cards. When playing small pairs, your primary goal is to flop a set. Now, while the odds of this happening are generally about 8 to 1 against, you should not let this deter you from seeing flops with these small pairs, because when you do hit a set, you're going to be a large favorite to win the pot. And that's what makes small pairs so valuable. Their true strength is often hidden from your opponents until the hand is done. For example, let's say you're holding pocket fours, and you flop a set on a board like ace, jack, 4. Now, if you're up against an opponent who's holding an ace with a big kicker, or even a jack with a big kicker, chances are good you're going to get paid off. That is, if you play your hand correctly. Since small sets are so well hidden, often the most profitable way to play your hand is to trap your opponent. Now, if our opponent is aggressive and betting into us, should we flat call when we're in position, or should we raise? Especially if your opponent is aggressive and is willing to do the betting for you throughout the hand. However, if the board is textured with straight draws or flush draws, you should be betting your hand strongly rather than trapping. Bets of about 3/4 of the pot are generally recommended in this situation. If you miss the board completely and it contains nothing but overcards to your small pair, letting your hand go is almost always the best option. Because the odds of hitting your set are generally slim, we recommend trying to see flops as cheaply as possible when you're holding a small pair. This doesn't mean you should be scared to call a raise with your hand, but you may want to consider mucking if the raise is too much of your entire stack, or if there is a re-raise before the action gets to you. Limping into a multi-way pot with your small pair can also be a profitable way to play the hand, but proceed with caution if a player behind you makes a big pre-flop raise. If you are in middle or late position, and the first one to enter the pot, raising with your small pair is also acceptable, since chances are you won't have to worry about more than one player potentially entering the pot behind you. Let's take a look at how raising with a small pair can work in your favor. In this example, let's say you raise with 5-5 from middle position and get called by the button. If the flop comes ace of diamonds, 10 of hearts, 5 of spades, you have two choices. You can check or you can bet. So what would you do? First, it looks suspicious since you were the original raiser in the pot, and second, it gives your opponent a chance to check behind you without having to put any money into the pot. Unless your opponent is hyper-aggressive and is sure to lead out if you check, betting your hand here is our preferred option, since it looks like a standard continuation bet, and it starts to build a pot when you're holding a huge hand. In cases where you are facing an aggressive opponent who is almost sure to bet your hand for you, then our recommended course of action on this board would be to check call the flop. Now, if the turn brings a scare card, you can then lead out, or if your opponent bets again, check raise to maximize the size of the pot.